One comment that I get quite frequently when it comes to journaling is that it doesn't work, or why would I do that? Basically, it's this mindset that it's pointless to write your thoughts on a piece of paper because if you're already thinking about them, why would you give them the time to write them down too? Well, that's kind of what I want to talk about here is the importance of writing down your thoughts and why we might do that. So, the first reason is the importance of it. Because if you've got thoughts just circling around in your head, think about it kind of like a roundabout. If you get into a roundabout and you've never done one before and you don't know what you're doing, you just keep driving around in circles. You're not actually getting anywhere. You're seeing the same scenery over and over again, and you're probably starting to stress out because you don't know how to get out of this circular motion. Well, I like to think of journaling as taking that next exit. So rather than continually thinking about your thoughts, you're giving your thoughts an exit out of your mind and onto a piece of paper. And that's what leads us into the second part, which is to be able to review those thoughts. A lot of times when you're in stressful situations or you're caught up in the moment, you're not always thinking clearly. But when you can let all those thoughts out onto a piece of paper, take a step away from it for a minute, and then look back to those thoughts, then you can read what you wrote or what was going through your mind at the time, and then you can start to make sense of everything. Journaling isn't necessarily to just write everything down and forget all about it, pack it away, to burn it, to throw it away. You can do that because everybody's journaling journey is going to be different. And you've got to find methods and ways that work best for you. And I know for me to work through all kinds of stuff, whether it's to hire a new person and I'm trying to choose between two different candidates. Maybe I'm trying to choose a new job. Maybe I'm trying to choose what to cook for dinner. It doesn't matter if it's something as simple as cooking dinner or is something as complex as trying to choose a new career path or the lotto numbers. You can write all these things down so that you can try to build that map to get you where you want to go. You could do a pros and cons sheet. You could do diagrams. There's so many different ways, but one thing that you don't need to do is keep the thoughts just dwelling in your mind till you get all this brain fog and you're just so clogged up that you can't see where to go next. That's why we journal. That's why we pick up a pen and piece of paper and make that connection. And honestly, I was one of those people that thought journaling was ridiculous. I was very skeptical of the output that I could get from it. And, not even talking about it just from a mental perspective, but just all kinds of things. I use my journaling to take notes when I'm reading certain books, especially when I'm studying my karate and other areas of my life like that. I write these things down. I have journals dedicated to quotes and expressions. I have journals dedicated to my book notes. I have a wide variety of journals for different use cases. And so it doesn't always have to be just recording your thoughts in that particular moment. It could be just recording things that you want to remember on down the road because they inspired you at one point, or maybe it just was something that sounded cool that you want to share with somebody later on. Maybe you're making a notebook that you want to pass down to your kids or your grandkids, or just give to some other loved one. Maybe you're recording history, or maybe it's just observations you have while sitting at the park. It really doesn't matter, but what does matter is that you are putting it down somewhere because our minds are only capable of storing so much information and remembering so many things. But with paper, it's virtually endless. So, to answer people's questions as to why I want to journal or write down my thoughts or even look at those things later, well, those are the reasons why. It brings me joy, it brings me peace and clarity, and I think those are things that are very important to have.